Hello everybody, I'm back with another video. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, then please do. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a review. The TV show I'm going to be talking about today is Sex Education Season 4. So before I start saying about the show, I want to say some quick disclaimers. The first thing is that I haven't been feeling that well today. I've been coughing a lot, but right now it's in and out, so that's why I'm filming and it's a sunny day. So if I start coughing, then I apologise. I'm sorry that, and I also want to apologise that I haven't been filming as much recently, so I'm not as consistent. And the reason why is because one, I'm going out more. Two, I haven't been well. There was a few weeks ago I had a cold, and also I was on my period. So having my period and then having my cold, I was not well, so that's why one of the reasons why I haven't been filming as much. And sometimes I don't know what to film, and filming does take time and doing a video does take time, because especially if I'm doing a review, it's writing the review, getting time to film the review and editing it, and sometimes editing can take longer depending on what you're filming, because if you're filming a review and it's long, you have to edit all of that and then add a picture, so it can take a long time. So I have to be in the right mood to be able to do all of that. So I do have videos planned after this one, but it's just when I have the time to do it. So I am sorry about all of that. It will have spoilers in it, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then please skip this video, and once you've seen the show you can come back to it. But if you don't care about spoilers, then keep on watching. If I remember to, I'll put pictures of each character on screen. So this review will kind of be like my Never Have I Ever review that I did recently. So I will talk about the characters and put the pictures up. So the first character I'll be talking about is Otis. So with Otis, he's the main character, and he wants to have a sex therapy at school. He wants to have a sex therapy at school, in campus. He finds out there's already a sex therapist who's called O, which later he finds out that is a girl. So they thought it was a boy. So even when Eric was talking about O, Eric was talking about O like O is a guy. So she was something like, oh, we'll just see how he is or something like that. And then they found that when they opened the door, that's when they realised it's not a boy, it's a girl. So Otis is very sexist to O. So he starts saying that she copied him, even though she was literally there first. At the beginning of the season, Maeve is horny, so she sends a dirty picture to Otis, and he doesn't send one back, and he basically starts ghosting her. But after Eric talks to him, we found out that the reason why he didn't send them back is because he was very self-conscious. So he explains to Eric that he did take them, he just didn't send them because he's very self-conscious about his private parts. There's a time that he was doing a presentation and he accidentally showed his pictures to the school. He does end up talking to Maeve about it and explaining how the pictures aren't really his thing. And after a while, they start dirty talking, and then they end up having phone sex. So Maeve also puts a sock on the door and uses the sex toy that Amy sent her. He has a problem with having sex, and he's had this fear before. And this fear is because his dad left his mum. So the reason why he has we see a flashback of that. And he explains that he's scared of Maeve going back to America. He's had this situation before. He and Eric have a big fight, and Otis doesn't listen to Eric's feelings. Him and Maeve are complicated as they don't see each other, and the relationship is very complicated right now. There's the whole long distance, and then she does come back later on, which I will talk about that when I get to Maeve. Him and his mom don't see eye to eye. He always wants to think about Maeve. Him and Ruby should be together, as him and Maeve don't go well, and I don't feel them as a couple. Like I do like Maeve and Otis together, but more like season 2, I think. Yeah, more season 2. Yeah, season 3, I didn't really like them as much. He got jealous of Maeve's friend, which we found out that the friend is gay, which I was really surprised about. I'm like, okay. And he's also mad because now that Joy is there, all she basically thinks about is Joy. He's not she's not really giving that much attention to him. So the next character I've talked about is Eric. So with Eric, I enjoyed what they did with him with his storyline. They talk more about him and how his family wants him to get baptized, especially his mom wants him to. He wants to, but he doesn't think like he should because he is gay, and people that are in the community and being Christians, it's not usually seen as a good thing. People would be like, oh, well, how could you believe in God when the Bible clearly says this? So it's kind of like what happened in season 3, I think it was, or no, I think it was season 2, when Raheem was like, oh, how could you believe in the God that doesn't, how can you believe in God when he doesn't support you or something like that? That's basically what Raheem said. Starts seeing signs of God on the dreams he's having. So he starts he starts seeing this person who's basically like the spirit of God, or God but in a human form. I don't know how to explain it. He becomes friends with Roman, Amy and Ash. They have a lot in common. He's not with Otis that much because of the fallout that's happening, and because Maeve is now back in the picture, Otis just mostly cares about Maeve. The mum understands him. He befriends and has an affair with a guy at the club who ends up getting baptized. So he sees Adam and he has a chat with him in the funeral, with them in Maeve's mum's funeral, which was very nice because he answers Adam, did he end up coming out, which he does, which I really like that scene. I really like Eric's storyline, and Eric's still one of my favourite person, even though I didn't like that he cheated on Adam in season 3, but Eric's still one of my favourite characters from the whole show. So the next character we're talking about is Maeve. We see that Maeve is going to America to start writing lessons. There's a scene where she's at the library and she sees a couple making out, so she texts Otis what he's up to. She tells him that she's trying to write but hands back to the dorm because she finds it hard to focus on writing when there's literally a guy and a girl making out in the library, and the guy's like feeling up on her bum and everything. So when she goes back to the dorm, her roommate and a guy is also in the middle of having sex, and so she closes the door quickly, and then the roommate, the girl, comes out and she's like, oh, sorry, she forgot to put the sock on the door, so she puts the sock on the door. And when Maeve is outside, she can basically hear them having sex, so she hears the moaning, and that's turning her on more. So she ends up sending a picture to Otis, and this is when the whole ghosting storyline happens. So even the dog, even when she was walking to her room, there was other couples that were making out, and there was even a dog that was humping a ball, which I was like, okay, that shocked me a lot. She goes to lessons and she's making a story, and she sends it to the teacher. She finds out the girl got in but not her, so basically the girl got into the apprenticeship, I think it is, and the girl got in because of like privilege, because either the teacher knows her dad or something. It's privilege. I don't remember what the privilege is, but it's either she's known from the family or something, that's why she got in. It's something like that. She found, if I remember what it is, I'll put what it in or something. She finds out from the teacher that it wasn't as good, so the teacher didn't really like it. She had phone sex call with Otis. She comes back to Mordell because she found out that mum has passed away, and she has trouble with Otis. She also has trouble with the brother because he's a drug addict. She goes back to America, and then she ends up having sex with Otis. So the next character I'll be talking about is Adam. Adam's at home as he doesn't want to go back to school, and his dad's in school and he's not getting good grades, so he doesn't want to go back. His mum gave him some flyers, and he gets a job working at the farm. He gets along with the girl and learns how to attend the calls. He gets along with the dad, but later on he finds out that the dad and his mum get back together. He doesn't like that his dad always, like, I don't know what this word is. He doesn't like how the dad's been acting towards Adam. There's a word here, but I can't pronounce that. He is trying a lot to help Adam. He has a good connection with Eric. For the people who are thinking, oh, why can't you pronounce the word? It's because my friend helped me write this review. That's why I can't pronounce what that word is. He has a good connection with Eric. He comes to his dad and they open up. He tells her that the person was a guy. So, because earlier on he says that he's scared about going to the funeral because his ex might be there. but he didn't tell the girl that his ex is a boy. So in the end, he hugs his dad and shows that the dad and him are having a better him and his dad are having a better relationship. And there's a scene when the dad is riding a horse, and it's very funny. So the next character I'm going to be talking about is Michael. He is Adam's dad, and he tries to be a good dad for Adam, but dislikes him due to him being strict and saying bad things to him. He's trying to do everything but needs help. He's the principal of the college. He gets a relationship with a teacher, but he has a problem and needs Viagra to have sex. He sees as a principal that it's not working and does cooking. He will need to be with someone who loves him to be able to get it up, basically. So he goes back to the mom. He does driving lessons with Adam. He gets with his ex, but the mom feels like it would be weird for Adam and quits it. So he gets back with the mom, but the mom thinks it's going to be weird if they get back together. In the end, they have a good bond with the son, and everything works out. So they end up having dinner in the end. The next character I'll be talking about is Ruby. So Ruby is back. She doesn't have a close friends, so you see that she gets lonely a lot. There's a scene where she eats lunch in the toilet, and it's sad because Mr. Groff was doing the same thing in the cubicle next door. So she tries to meet new friends, but they don't really give her the time of day. We get the scene where Ruby goes to O and says how are you going to pretend like you don't know me? And O's basically gaslighting her and saying, oh, you must have got me mistaken by somebody else. But then later on we see that why Ruby was saying that she knew who O was. So she ends up helping Otis with his campaign. The next character I'll be talking about is Amy. So with Amy, we see her and Isaac start to like each other. At first, she doesn't want to be with him because she knows that Maeve used to be with him, so she doesn't want to make that complicated. She's not comfortable with them dating together because of the fact that she was sexually assaulted. So she's still trying to grow. I don't know if that's about it. She's still trying to move on. I don't know. She's still trying to get past it. I don't know what the right word is, I'm sorry. But yeah, later on they explore their relationship together. They're about to kiss, but feels weird as she's trying to move on from the assault. She gets into photographs and Isaac helps her. Later on she burns her jeans, and I felt very proud of her in that scene. And she takes pictures at the bus stop. She's still exploring. She sends Maeve this box which has the dildo in it that Maeve ends up using when she's having the sex call with Otis. So I think she's a really good character, and I think she's one of the best written characters in the show, apart from Adam and Eric. The next character I'll be talking about is Isaac. With Isaac, I didn't like him very much in the last season, but he's grown on me, but he's still kind of middle for me. Isaac gets upset because the lift is broken and gets frustrated that he can't get to his classes. Then they start this protest and how they are waiting for the engineer to fix it. Him and Amy's relationship are good together, and he shows her many ways of doing art and what she thinks will work for her. So the next character I'm going to talk about is Jackson. With Jackson, one of his main story is that he's with a girl. He gets with a girl and he ends up having casual sex with her, but he doesn't want to be casual, and he still has feelings for Cal. When they're having sex, he discovers that he has a lump, so she tells him that he has a lump, and he gets panic attacks. He worries a lot. He gets seen by the doctor, so he does tests to see if it's cancerous. He wants to find out about the sperm donor because he wants to see if he might have been getting it, like it might be genetics. I think that's the right word, yeah. So he wants to learn more about the sperm donor, but one of the mums says that she doesn't want to tell him because he has two mums. So she's like, oh, I don't want to tell you. I'm not ready to tell him. So then he finds this letter, and then he finds out that his dad, he didn't actually have a sperm donor. The mum slept with this guy before she met the other mum, and the dad didn't want to be in the picture, so he basically left because he already had a family or something like that. So Later on, we found out it's not cancerous, and I'm telling you, I was so happy in that scene. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, because the way he was like having panic attacks in the funeral, and he can barely hold the casket. I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so bad for him. So I was very happy about that. I wish we got more about him exploring his queerness, because we got one scene when he basically, the girl put her, the girl basically did this and put down it, and then he came and it went like everywhere, and he was like to Otis about being queer, and Otis says to him that you can be straight and basically like it, like that kind of pleasure. So yeah, but he still has feelings for Cal, and I would have liked to see more of that. But we do see more of that near the end. We see more of that near the end, because he sends a text to Cal saying that I would love for us to hang out when you feel better. So yeah. So the next character I'll be talking about is Vivian. Vivian was one of my least favorite characters, especially I think in season 2. She was very annoying, but she's grown on me a bit now. So she starts doing her mock exams. She gets a crush on this guy called Bo, so they start dating, and they kiss, and he helps her with the tablet and shows her how to use it, and he starts controlling her, and she didn't like it because controlling is very bad. So he kept on asking like, saying about Jackson, like even though we've said many times that they're just friends, but he kept on controlling her, kept on sending text over text over text, wouldn't leave her alone. And there's one part when he even grabs her hand, because you can even see that she was holding her wrist and she was like in physical pain. So she's a nice person, and she confers to Jackson about it, and that scene was very, very sad. The next character I will talk about is Carl. Carl is non-binary, and they go by they them pronouns. So Carl is using T, which stands for testosterone, and they had bottom surgery, and they want to have top surgery as they have gender dysphoria, but it's very expensive to get the top surgery. They and Robin have a connection, and they get along very good. They have difficulties with their mum, as the mum doesn't understand Carl's pronouns. Carl runs away as they're being mistreated, and Eric finds out, and Carl runs away as they're being mistreated, and Eric finds them, and Jackson finds Carl. They use the fundraising to raise the money for Carl's surgery. So basically, this fundraising is supposed to go to the church, but the church doesn't like that it's coming from LGBT people or whatever, so they use the money for Carl's surgery instead. Okay, so the next character I'm talking about is Jean. Jean is Otis's mom. So with Jean, we see how she has a new baby called Joy. You see how Otis says how she's dressed, and she said that she has a new job. She's struggling a lot to look after Joy and to maintain the job. She's going to a radio show, but she sees that she needs to push more to get better in the end, because she's struggling through a lot. So Otis has calls the sister to come help her because she's very stressed, and she said we see that the sister can be very unreasonable. Explain the past of her sister. Okay, so we find out that the mom has a type of, I think she might have PTSD. I don't remember if I put it right, but she gets the diagnosis of it, and yeah, she at first her and her sister, they butt heads a lot, but then they find common ground. So, and we also find out that the biological dad of Joy is the guy that her sister is seeing. So that was very surprising to me. Okay, so she doesn't get along with Otis due to her going through her personal stuff and him going through his personal stuff. Later on, she gets her own show and it's going good. So for a while, O is on the show with her, and Otis gets mad at that because right now they're arch nemesis, but the mum didn't know that O was the person that has the sex therapy, so the mum didn't know that. So in the season there was new characters, so I'm going to talk about them now. So the first new character is Joanna. The first new character is Joanna, and she's Jean's sister. Her name is Joanna. She's not very responsible, and she's very unreliable. She comes to Jean and stays there as Otis says that she's needed. She goes to apply for a card, and she owes a lot of money because she's in debt. She meets this guy, but she got stood up, so they stop talking to each other. Later on, she's told by Jean that she's in debt, so she made a list for her to do, and she doesn't. And so it's basically like a sister contract, but she doesn't want to sign it. So, but later on, they kind of make up, and Jean gives her a paycheck, and Joanna's like she'll pay it back. She gets drunk in the cinema with Otis and May and ruins their date, so they get kicked out. She likes helping out with Joy, and she likes babysitting. So the next chapter I talk about O. So we are introduced to O when we find out that she's the current sex therapist on the school. I felt bad for her in the beginning, but that's because Otis was being very rude to her when it wasn't needed. But then when we get the backstory about how she was actually the bully to Ruby because she was the one that started the whole bed rattle thing, that's when it started going downhill. Like, she apologized, which was good, but I still don't like her. So she was a middle character for me. The next character I will talk about is Bo. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think about Bo is the word disappointment. I should have seen it coming, but of course it was too good to be true. I should have seen it happen, that it was going to happen. I liked him in the beginning, but then we saw the signs that he has some issues he needs to deal with. He's seen that he's very controlling with Vivian, and asks about Jackson, saying if they're together. So I just like him as a character. Like, he has some issues, and Viv calls him out on it. He has some issues that he needs to deal with, and I hope he deals with it. But yeah, the controlling, no, we don't stand for that. So the next character I'm talking about is Aisha. So Aisha is deaf, and she is polyamorous. She has a girlfriend, but is dating Carl. She's a nice person, and she's very kind. She's friends with Roman, and she gets upset that she's left behind when the alarm goes off in the protest. They have a jar that you have to put money in, so if you like gossip or swear, them kind of jars. So the next character I'll be talking about is Abby. Abby is very popular, and she's with Roman. She's trans. She belongs to a covenant at school, and she's very open-minded. She's Christian. In her life, she was kicked out from her family due to coming out as a trans woman. She's now lives with Roman, and she hates gossiping. The next character I'll be talking about is Roman. Roman is trans. He's dating Abby. Him and Abby have a fight, as Abby doesn't like the fact that Roman moans. So the way he moans, she doesn't like it. So she says it later on. So she's like, "Oh, that's why I'm not having sex with you." So then Otis helped with the breakup. He has a connection with Cal and speaks about top surgery. Cal noticed that he did private, and it helped him a lot. He said it was a lot of money. So Roman has had top surgery as well. And it's also seen when Roman talks about how he basically woke up and saw that Abby was masturbating. I've forgotten any of the characters, I'm sorry, but that's all the characters now. So now I'm going to talk about things I didn't like or things I wish we got. So the first thing I was annoyed about is how badly Jackson was to Cal. I didn't like it in the end. I did like it in the end that he made up with them and he sent a text to hang out, but when they feel better, but I would have liked to see more of him and Cal together because they were a big part of the last season, so their relationship was a big part of it. The whole Maeve teacher plot, I didn't like that. I understand why he was needed, but the fact that he's been confirmed for a while and then this is what we get. So I didn't really like that. And I know he's in another show or another movie or something because my friend was saying it to me, so I wish we got more from him. So yeah, his kind of plot was annoying to me. I've seen this from other people and I agree, and I feel like the show is very washed. I realised that there was time against them, but in a way I kind of feel like I was very unsatisfied. For example, a lot of the new characters, like, we barely know about them, so that's why I couldn't say that much. Otis was very annoying in the season. I've talked about how the main characters are usually the worst, but in this season I usually like Otis, and the fact that he was one of my least favourite in the season, that says how much I didn't like. That's why it was very hard for me to root for him. The next thing I'm going to talk about is how badly Ruby was treated in the season. I am an I am an Otis and Ruby shipper, but aside from that, seeing her not being able to make friends was really hard, and having her deal with Otis and dealing with O, how O was basically gaslighting her. Like, I think it's very messed up, and I think she deserves better. There are many characters in the show, and this isn't just a sex education issues. There's a lot of shows that have too many characters, so I think some characters were not needed, which I understand why some characters didn't come back, but it just has so many characters, and some characters it's just hard to care, because I'm like, it's just what? So when the and you're like, I don't really care. But yeah, they just have a lot of characters. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the whole asexual representation. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the way they do it. Do I believe that O is actually asexual? Yes, but the way they did it, I didn't like that, because I don't think her being asexual justifies her actions. I don't think that's okay what she did. Okay, things I loved about the season. I love how they address very serious topics, like the whole Amy being assaulted and Jackson possibly having cancer. I love the diversity, so having queer people, and especially having a queer person of colour. I like the storyline with Jane and her sister, so having the dad of Joy being the guy that the sister slept with. I didn't see that coming, and I really liked the part, and it was really done well. I really liked the scene with Colin playing the piano at Meg's mom's funeral. I didn't talk about him earlier because he was barely in the season, but I really liked that scene. I liked seeing Adam's relationship with the dad, and seeing Mr. Goff on the horse. That was very funny. It's a really good scene. Even though there's so many things that annoyed me, I'm glad that most of them were sorted out in the season. So a lot of the stories for the characters were sorted out. The storyline with Amy, as I said earlier, she's one of the best written characters, and I just love how far she's come and her storyline, and I'm still very proud of her. Speaking of very proud, I have to talk about Adam, seeing him more comfortable with who he is and saying I'm not scared of it anymore and I'm not going to hide it when talking about his sexuality. I love that so much, because talking about a person who's also in the community and him being not afraid to hide it is very, very empowering, so I'm very happy. And the last thing I have to talk about is the whole difference between Otis and Eric. I'm seeing that some people are saying that they just put it there for drama, and it wouldn't make sense more to have it in the last season or in the past seasons, but I think it did make sense because, you know, Otis is straight and he's not black either, so it does make more sense. Eric now having these friends that are queer, and he's not queer and he's not Christian and all of that, so it did make sense, like having that, oh, you know, even though you're different, you can still be friends. Because like me and my friend, because she was saying when she watched it, it made her think of us, because we're different in ways. There's some things that she doesn't understand when I tell her about how I'm feeling, and she says to me she doesn't, but she tries her best to help, and I do the same. So yeah, that's my thought on the whole season. So I thought it was really good, really sad, but very funny. I liked a lot of growth with the characters, and I am sad that it's the final season, but I think as a season it had a good way of ending, and I liked a lot of the new characters as well. So I'm going to say my final thoughts and then I'm done. So I'm very sad that the show's over, but as a season I'm mostly happy with it. After hearing what the characters what characters weren't coming back, I was worried that a lot of the charm of the show wouldn't be still there, but it is still there. I am thinking of rewatching all the seasons, so from season 1 to season 4, but I would have to see. I mostly watched the first season, so I think that is still my favourite. But this is definitely not the best I've watched from the show. But as the ending, it's okay, and that's all I have to say. So I have been filming for a while now, so I'm gonna stop. So if you guys like my long videos, you're very welcome. But yeah, I'm gonna stop now because I have stuff to do today, and I wanna rest because, as I said, I'm still not feeling well. But yeah, I do have plans for videos I will be doing very soon, so please keep in mind for that. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out when I post. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye. If I've forgotten anything, then I'm sorry, but I should have mentioned everything. But yeah, bye.